Doing? I'm gonna talk about something that I just saw on YouTube. Has nothing to do with my stroke, but it has to do with kids, so you understand how your mom and your dad was growing up when we were raising you. Actually, not growing up, and what we had to go through. Right now, there's a time period where they call it the Great Resignation, where a lot of people are quitting and not going back to the job force, labor force, what do you want to call it. And the reason why, there's all these different reasons why, and I think most of them are honestly just poo on a stick. But the truth be, and I'll tell you right now what I believe it is, and this is, I think no one wants to touch on this because they don't want to make it seem like it's the business's fault. It's more the common person. I always blame the common man instead of the system or the people who make the system. Well, right now, minimum wage is $7.25 in the United States of America. When I was your age, yes, when I was just 5 years old, minimum wage was right around $3. So somehow in 40 plus years, it only doubled. But when I was graduating high school, minimum wage was only $3.85 when I graduated high school. So it only went up like 80 some cents since I was 5 to 18. When I had my first apartment, I paid $275 a month for rent. That's it, 275. And with my little wimpy $3.85 I made enough to pay my rent by working 2 weeks. I worked 2 weeks, I paid my rent, and my next check went towards my bills. That continued for just probably a few more years until I got about 25, 26. It was around that time period when they started actually getting worse, where a paycheck could not pay your rent. But every time before that, when your grandma was around, it was you worked a full 2 weeks, got a paycheck, you pay your bills. Right now in the United States, if you work for minimum wage, actually let's be fair. Let's say you make $10 an hour. That makes it real easy. You work 10 hours or $10 an hour. You work 40 hours. You make 1,600. Very easy math. Well, Uncle Sam takes about a fifth of that for income taxes. So you get to keep $1,200 to yourself, roughly. Our rent is more than that right now.
Yeah, it's 13.50.
Okay? And now make sure you understand the math I just did. That math was for a full month of work. That's two paychecks. So working a full month, 40 hours a week, above $2 plus above the United States minimum wage, and we can't pay rent with one person working. That's what the problem is with our system and why people are going back to work. Because when COVID happened and people stayed home, they found ways to work around that. They moved back in with relatives. Maybe they got roommates. They figured out some way that they weren't going to work 40 hours a week to not be able to pay the rent. And people say, well, they were doing it before it happened. Well, we feel we had no choice. Everybody tells you that when you turn 18, you got to get out, get a job, do something, especially men. You got to do something. Take care of yourself, take care of your children. A man don't work. He don't get, he don't work. He don't eat. We hear all these stupid statements. So we go out there and we bust our hump 40 hours a week and barely able to pay our rent. And did you notice I said rent? I didn't say nothing about food. I didn't say nothing about how to get to work. How you get to work? Walking? Car? Bus? What are you doing? That's not part of the cost. Because again, at $1,200, we can't pay rent. How are we paying for a car payment? How are we paying for a bus pass? How are we paying for food? How are we paying for anything? Lights, phone, internet. How are we paying for anything?
Water.
Water. You ain't paying for nothing. So you have to have two. So me and your mom have to work two full-time jobs to be able to pay our bills. Which, how much time we get spent with you? Mom don't get to stay home with you. We still got to pick your school. We still got to go to activities for you. And then make sure you guys don't have the suspensions yet. You guys are still young enough where it's not even an issue right now. But I'm saying, but that's the problem with American ways, is that the business has gotten so much power of you that they pretty much pay slave labor wages. I mean, if you really can work back, like I said, when I was a kid, even when I moved out, I could work a full 2 weeks and pay my rent. It made me feel good because I could do stuff on the weekend. I can hang out with friends. I can have a social life. If you have to work 40 plus hours, and don't forget 40-hour work week, you still commute usually. So you ain't gone only 40 hours of your life. They ain't gone always gone. You spend about maybe 50 to 60 hours a week getting ready for work, going to work, lunch breaks, and coming home from work. And you still don't have enough to pay your rent. And they're saying that if we had, with COVID happen, we got stimulus checks. The government gave out, it was, I think it was $1,200 for per adult, each adult, and $600 for children, if you had them, you know. And so the average person, let's just say the average person living by himself, he got $1,200. They gave it out, I believe, 3 times. So here's the crazy part. These economists, and most of them, I'm sorry to say, are right-wing Republicans, are saying because they gave people roughly $3,600, that's why they haven't went back to work for 3 years, almost 2 years. $3,600 explains why people have not went back to work and are not going back to work for almost 2 years. How can you even say that with a straight face? It doesn't make no sense. $3,600. If you gave it out to me all at one time, yeah, we could pay our rent and our bills this month and be comfortable, have a little bit left over next month. That's a month. That's a month. And they didn't give it to it one time. That 3 checks, those 3 payments came over months. Over a year and a half, I believe. So, again, $3,600 supposedly for the individual is why people did not go back to work. No. They didn't go back to work because, again, like I said, they got tired of the crap. And here's the thing. So I'm not saying everybody, nobody did the exact same thing. Everybody can do something. But if I was living in a state, say I went off to college or something, and I'm working a part-time job, the college closed down because of COVID, and the government give me $200, I'm going back home. I'm going back to mom's house because at mom's house, she ain't charging me $1,200 a month for a studio apartment. I ain't got to come up with food, gas. My mom be grateful to see me home, and I'll probably drop her $400 just for coming home. She'd be happy to get the extra money. She'd be happy to have me home. I'd be happy to have her home cooking. Live in my own room if I had one, stuff like that. That's what a lot of people did. A lot of people got roommates so they can be cheaper, so they don't have to work 40 hours a week just to be broke. A lot of people went to different jobs. And here's the crazy part. This guy said that in his video, and this is what's going on a lot. Because you look at history, kids, look at the history. You see, this COVID time made the most billionaires ever. Companies were doubling profits that they made the year before. And here's the thing. This guy said their revenue went up double each year. They double it every year. And they can't get people to come in. But I guarantee you, let's just simple numbers. They made $100,000 revenue. This year, next year, they made $200,000. Yesterday, they made $400,000. How many kids? Be honest. If you're old enough to understand this, hopefully you're older, and then think about it. If someone got $100,000 one year, $200,000 next year, $400,000 next year, that person that was working for them for minimum wage $7.25, do you think their wages doubled? No. If they made $7.25, which is the federal minimum wage, at best they moved up to probably $9 an hour. Even though that company could afford to pay them way better, why would they? We are driven by profits. Why would they ever pay them double? That means that their profit margin goes down. That ain't gonna happen. Even though when they started the company, they were happy with $100,000 salary a year. Now they make $1.2 million. Why would you drop that? No company wants to see red in their books. They're not gonna go backwards. But that's the problem with society right now. Is the country we live in. There's no way of fixing it. Your mom was reading some report earlier that said that we've been focused. We're at $15 minimum wage. They're trying to push for it. It's not going to happen. But we've been pushing for a $15 minimum wage, federal minimum wage, for so long, decades, at least the last 10 years. People are talking about getting it there so long that even if they start giving out $15 an hour federal minimum wage, it still wouldn't be enough. Because housing costs, food costs, everything has went up so much. And that time, not just inflation. People talk about inflation. It is inflation, but it's not just this recent stuff they're complaining about in our current time. Inflation in general, since I was a kid, everything went up so much that even if they went to $15 an hour, you still wouldn't have enough. They say they estimated you need $25 an hour to be able to pay your rent with one paycheck. Now that is sad. I remember one paycheck paying your rent, but now that wouldn't happen. So kiddos, I hope things are better. Oh God, I hope I can look at this video when you're 18, 19, and things have gotten better. But I'm gonna see how it's gonna get better when they let this slippery slope slide because big businesses want to make more money. And if billionaires can double their profits, some billionaires went from like 160 billion to 320 billion in a year. If they can go that much, but their employees only make $1 more than last year, you're not gonna give me. And see, the funny thing, people are arguing. And this is the worst argument I ever seen. They're arguing that they're offering more wages, but people aren't coming back. Well, if your federal minimum wage is $7.25, and that's what you're paying me, the numbers I was talking about were based off $10 an hour. So wow, you give me $2.75 more an hour to make me $10 an hour. I still can't pay my bills. Why would I run back to being in a cycle like that? I'd rather have 6 roommates and we all pay, $200, $300 towards bills, all working at fast food, which is not the best job you can have, not the highest paying job. I'd rather have that and have my weekends, have my evenings. I'm not going to work 40 hours a week to not be able to pay my bills. And I hope you guys stay in school. Get a trade. Don't worry about, if you want a 4-year degree, that's fine. Go ahead. But try to get some skill that people can't take from you. Learn to do tattoos. I'm not saying quit school. Learn carpentry. Learn some skill that's always going to be needed. So we have something to fall back on. Because while you were doing that 4 years of school, building up that debt, you still need to make some money. You need to have something going on. So all you guys, if you don't make it successful as the group, I'm hoping you guys are a musical group called Karma. If that doesn't happen, if I can't Joe Jackson you, sucker. If I can't do that, if you guys, go on, please just try to find a trade, something you're good at while you try to get the education. Because even if you start working as an apprenticeship, working on cars at 14, 15, make it a little side hustle. Working on your friends' cars, because trust me, your friends ain't going to know how to work on cars. You can do that, make a little extra money, take care of yourself. Don't be caught in this trap that society is built for everyone. Only people get ahead now, people know people. So hard work, I'm a skeptic. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to hopefully watch these ones when we're older. When I'm older, well, actually, I'll always be older. You know what I mean? When I'm an old man, who's that handsome guy? All right, bye, kid.